You understand English, but when it's in time to speak, nothing comes out. Your heart beats faster, your mind freezes, and all the words you learned suddenly disappear. It's frustrating, isn't it? You study for months, maybe even years. You read grammar books, memorized vocabulary, watched endless videos, and yet you still struggle to speak. You know what you want to say, but somehow the words don't come out naturally. If that sounds like you, then you are not alone. And more importantly, there is nothing wrong with you. This is one of the most common problems English learners face, and today we bring to talk about how to fix it. Welcome to Focus English Audio. My name is John, and in this episode, I'm going to show you the path to real English fluency. Not just understanding English, but speaking it, living it, feeling confident in every conversation. This isn't too about sounding like a native or being perfect. It's about expressing yourself naturally without fear, without overthinking, and without translating everything in your head. Imagine this. You were sitting in a quiet cafe, holding a warm cup of coffee. You and I are just talking, no pressure, no judgment. Just two friends having a heart-to-heart conversation about your journey to English fluency. I'm here to guide you, not with complicated rules or impossible promises, but with real honest steps that work. Because I know what it's like to feel stuck. I've worked with thousands of learners just like you. People who were smart, motivated, and dedicated who still could to speak fluently. Why? Because they were focusing on the wrong things. And once we fixed that, everything changed. Speaking became easier, confidence grew, and most important, they started to enjoy the language again. That's exactly what I want for you. So today, we will go deep. We will uncover the hidden mistakes that block your progress, and we will replace them with habits that actually move you forward. But before we begin, I want you to make one promise to yourself. Be patient. Real fluency doesn't happen overnight. It did not magic. It did a process, a journey. And the most powerful step you can take right now is simply deciding to keep going. No matter how slow it feels, no matter how many mistakes you make, just keep going. Now, let's get into it. In the next part, we will look at the most common mistakes English learners make. Mistakes that keep you stuck, frustrated, and silent. And I will show you exactly how to break free from them. Get ready, because this is where your fluency journey truly begins. Fluency doesn't come from magic. It comes from method, from structure, from a system that works. And today I want to walk you through 5 powerful steps that can shift your entire English learning journey. These aren't complicated rules or unrealistic goals. They're simple, practical, and they work if you stay consistent. Step 1. Listen more than you think you need to. Listening is the foundation of speaking. Without strong ears, you can't help a strong voice. Think about how children learn language. They don't start by speaking, they start by listening. Namans. They absorb sounds, patterns, and rhythm, and eventually words come out. You have to train your ears the same way. Listen to English every day, not just once a week or when you feel motivated every day. Podcasts, audiobooks, movies, songs, anything that brings English into your ears. The more you listen, the more natural English will feel in your brain. Step 2. Speak even if you are alone. Especially if you're alone. Don't wait for someone to practice with. Talk to yourself in English, describe your day, repeat phrases you heard in a podcast, read aloud, shadow native speakers. Speaking is a muscle. If you don't use it, it stays weak. You don't need to speak perfectly. You just need to speak regularly. Step 3. Stop learning single words and start learning phrases. Language is made of chunks, not individual bricks. Native speakers don't think word by word, they use ready-made expressions. So instead of memorizing o point, learn, I'm a doctor, appointment, tomorrow. Instead of hungry, you are, kore, aho. The more you learn full expressions, the more automatic your English becomes. Step 4. Think in English, this one is a game changer. If you were always translating in your head, you will always hesitate. You will always second-guess yourself. But when you think in English, your brain gets faster, more fluent, more confident. Start with small daily thoughts. But I'm tired, but it ain't cold today. For I need to call my friend. Say them in English, in your head or out loud. Label things in your home in English. Write your shopping list in English. Slowly, your brain will make the shift. Step 5. Be consistent and make it enjoyable. You don't need to study for hours, but you do need to show up every day. Learning English is like watering a plant. You can't give it a flood once a week and expect it to grow. You need to give it a little water every day. 15 minutes is enough if you baseball. And it's even better if you enjoy it. Watch content you love, talk about topics you care about, laugh, smile, make mistakes, keep going because fluency isn't to a finish line. It's a habit, and habits are built one simple step at a time. Even when you study hard and stay committed, fluency can still feel far away at because most learners, without even realizing it, fall into habits that slow them down. These habits feel productive, but they did not. They give you a sense of progress, but they don't lead to real speaking ability. Today, let you uncover those hidden traps, the common mistakes English learners make, and more importantly, how to fix them. Mistake number 1. Trying to master grammar before speaking. It's natural to want to avoid mistakes. So many learners spend months or even years just studying grammar books, watching explanations, and drilling tenses. But fluency doesn't grow from rules, it grows from use. Native speakers, even educated ones, make grammar mistakes all the time. Yet they speak with confidence, they express themselves clearly. That's the goal. Not perfection, but connection. So stop thinking, but I will speak when my grammar is good enough. Start thinking, but I will improve my grammar through speaking. Speak simply, make mistakes, and learn as you go. Mistake number 2. Translating everything in your head. This is one of the most common fluency blocks. You hear a sentence in English, you mentally convert it into your language, you think of a response, then you try to translate that back into English. By the time you're ready to speak, the moment is gone, you feel frustrated and left behind. The fix? Stop translating. Start thinking in English. This won't happen overnight, but it will happen if you practice. Use English for everyday thoughts. I need to buy milk, but this room is must, but I call mom late. These small internal thoughts are your fluency gym. The more you train, the faster and more automatic your thinking becomes. Mistake number 3. Learning words you never use. Many learners keep long vocabulary lists, filled with advanced words they rarely encounter in daily life. But when it's time to speak, they forget them. That's because your brain does to retain unused information. Vocabulary sticks when it's relevant, personal, and repeated often. Instead of memorizing random words, focus on phrases you can use in your real life. If you work in marketing, learn how to talk about projects, deadlines, meetings. If you love food, learn how to describe flavors, recipes, and restaurant experiences. Learn language that reflects your world and use it. Say it aloud, repeat it in different contexts, make the language part of your life. Mistake number 4. Avoiding speaking because of fear. This one is powerful. Many learners hesitate to speak because they afraid of making mistakes, being judged, or sounding silly. The fear keeps you silent. But herein the truth. Every fluent speaker was once a beginner. Every confident communicator stumbled at first. The only difference is, they did to stop. They pushed through the fear. They spoke badly, then better, then fluently. You can too. Instead of running from mistakes, run toward them. Mistakes are teachers. They show you what to improve, and every time you speak, despite the fear, you build courage. Mistake number 5. Comparing yourself to others. Maybe you hear someone speak quickly and think, but why can't I do that? Or maybe you feel like you behind. But fluency isn't to a race. Everyone's path is different. Some people have more time. Some have better exposure. Some have been learning longer. That doesn't matter. What matters is your own growth. Are you better today than you were last month? That progress, that turns success. So stay focused on your journey. Trust your pace and keep going, because once you remove these hidden blocks, fluency becomes not just possible, but inevitable. If you want to speak English fluently, you can't ignore this. Listening. Most learners underestimate it. They think listening is passive, that it's something you do just for fun, or when you have free time. But in reality, listening is the foundation of natural speaking. Without listening, you were missing half the language. Every sound, every rhythm, every intonation pattern, your brain absorbs all of it through listening. It's how babies learn. They listen for months before they ever say a single word. They soak in the sounds around them, the flow, the emotion, the melody of language. And one day words just come. That's not a coincidence. That's the power of listening. When you train your ears, your mouth follows. You start to recognize patterns. You start to feel what sounds right and what does too. Your pronunciation improves. Your confidence rises. Listening is your secret fluency tool, but only if you do it the right way. So let's you talk about how. First, you must listen every single day, not once a week. Not only during lessons, every day, even 10 minutes a day adds up. Choose content you enjoy. Podcasts like this one, audiobooks that hold your attention. TV shows, interviews, real conversations, anything that keeps your ears engaged. When you enjoy the content, you will come back to it. And when you come back to it, your brain keeps learning. Second, don't try to understand every word. If you pause the audio every 5 seconds to look up a word, you're not training your listening, you're interrupting it. Instead, let the sounds wash over you. Focus on the general meaning. Use context. Guess. Trust that your brain is smarter than you think. Over time, words and phrases will start to pop out naturally. Third, use active listening techniques. One of the best is shadowing. Play a sentence. Pause, then repeat it exactly how you heard it. Same speed, same tone, same rhythm. You were not just repeating words. You were copying the music of English. Do this regularly and your speaking will sound more natural without even thinking about it. Another technique, listen and summarize. After listening to a short story or conversation, explain what you heard in English. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be in your own words. This forces your brain to process information actively and prepares you for real conversations. And finally, make English listening part of your life. Not just your study time. While you cook, while you clean, while you exercise, while you walk to work, surround yourself with English. Let your brain live in the language. The more you hear it, the more normal it becomes. The more normal it becomes, the easier it is to speak. Listening isn't just something you do. It's something you live. It is not about learning words, it's about feeling the flow. So if you've been stuck in your speaking, maybe it's time to train your ears. Because fluency does start in your mouth, it starts in your mind. And your mind learns best through listening. Much in talk about the real reason people fail to become fluent. Not because they're not smart enough, not because they don't have time, but because they give up too soon. Fluency isn't built in a day or a week. It's not a crash course. It's a slow, steady, deeply personal process. And that process requires consistency and motivation. But how do you stay consistent when life is busy, when progress feels slow, when motivation disappears? The answer is simple, but powerful. You make fluency part of your lifestyle, not just a temporary goal. You wake up and say, but English is part of who I am now. That identity shift changes everything. So first, build small daily habits. Don't wait for the perfect time. Make time. 10 minutes with a podcast in the morning, 5 minutes shadowing a sentence during lunch, a short chat with yourself in the mirror before bed. These small moments compound. They grow roots, and those roots build fluency. Second, celebrate every small win. You watched a full video without subtitles. That's a win. You understood someone on a call. Another win. You ordered coffee in English. Even if your grammar wasn't perfect, that's more fluency in action. Track these moments. Write them down. They remind you that you've been moving forward even when it feels slow. Third, connect with real people. Join a language group. Chat online. Talk to a tutor. The more you use English in real conversations, the more your brain adapts. Real use creates real results. And when you hear yourself being understood, it feels incredible. Fourth, make English fun. If learning feels like a chore, you want to stick with it, so follow your curiosity. Watch videos on topics you love. Listen to music that makes you smile. Read books or blogs that excite you. Fluency isn't just a skill, teaching a relationship. Make that relationship joyful. Fifth, remind yourself why you started. Why did you begin learning English? Was it to get a better job? To travel? To connect with others? To understand movies? Or study abroad? Or feel more confident? That reason still matters. Write it down. Say it out loud. Revisit it when you feel stuck. Because some days, motivation fades, but purpose stays. And finally, give yourself permission to be imperfect. Which you will forget words. You will make grammar mistakes. You will freeze sometimes. That's and not failure. That's and growth. Every speaker you admire has been where you are. They just kept going. So, please, don't stop. Don't say, but I'm not good enough. Don't say, but it's and too late. If you are learning, you are winning. You are already on the path. And if no one told you this lately, I'm proud of you. You are showing up. You are trying. You are not alone. Fluency doesn't happen in big leaps. It happens in quiet moments, in small choices, in the decision to try again today. And one day soon you will notice something. You will speak without thinking. You will express yourself with ease. You will laugh in English. Dream in English. Feel at home in a language that once felt foreign. And in that moment you will realize it was never about being perfect. It was about becoming free. So keep going. You're closer than you think.